Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Hood Rich Chronicles. So it's been a minute and things have taken a bit of a really good positive turn. I actually got my placement matches done for Marvel Rivals. I'm really excited about that. I actually ended up placing Silver One, just start out with, and I'm really, really excited. And of course, you've seen it all over the internet, all over Marvel Rivals' main website, that the official trailer for Cyclops and Devil Dinosaur has been released. So much hype and excitement, and I am amped up. Very amped up. Why? Well, one, it's more character selection that we get. It's also more character variety that we get. And they are starting season 8 off with a Vanguard, very similar to how they did with Angela and Daredevil. So this time around, we get to see in the cinematic that Cyclops is basically coming to Alchemax to, I guess, rescue Moon Girl. Or at least that's what you see in the trailer. Is where he, I guess, busts out of the prison and he's basically rescuing Moon Girl, who also escaped from Alchemax. Basically, it's a continuing story from season 7 of the Kingpin's Alchemax prison, what was going on there with the Gilded Saint, yada yada. If you're looking for that, I can actually give a link to the exact story, but more than likely you're going to find it in game anyway. You can go through the gallery cards. You can also go through the story of the actual season within the settings of the game itself. So you don't need me to explain it to you. But what I'm liking about this overall is I see from the patch notes as well as from the characters they're selecting to release, the NetEase developers, they know that they're cooking. They know that they're cooking. They know they got a hot product. They know people may be complaining, but they still have, how can I best put it? The fire's still hot in the stove. So since the fire's still hot in the stove, might as well strike while the iron's hot. Why not release an obscure character first and then release the more popular character right afterwards? Now, I'm wondering if this is going to turn into like a situation that happened with Rogue. So, if you didn't know, Rogue was released, I want to say, was it season 5 or 6, where when she got released, everybody was excited for her, but her release was overshadowed quickly by the release of Deadpool right after her, which really shouldn't have happened the way it did, but it did at the time. They really did require and need to have a very popular character. And they also needed to have another Vanguard, which Deadpool, in a sense, basically was in what I can say is a Band-Aid. I won't say he's the perfect Band-Aid, but he's a good one. He's definitely a good Band-Aid. He filled all 3 roles. He's very easy to play. Yeah, it's a mini game within the game with his level up system, but he's not that hard to learn. He's not that hard to play with, and that is why I say he's a Band-Aid character. But in any case, he still overshadowed the release of Rogue, to many people's dismay, because more people flocked to Deadpool than they did stick on Rogue. That, as well as they made Rogue the more complicated Vanguard to use. And then to add, insult to injury, they made her more of an off tank than a main tank. So with the release of Devil Dinosaur, as you see, they made him pretty much like the Jeff of tanks, the Jeff of Vanguards. He's easy to play. He has a large size. He basically fulfills your dino fantasy. And all kids go through a dinosaur phase. They're right about that. Guang thought about that. Quite a few other people said that. They're like, remember, every kid goes through the dinosaur phase. I was like, oh yeah, I remember I went through that major dinosaur phase as a kid. But yeah, so he's an easy to use Vanguard. He's a dinosaur, so you get to fulfill all your Godzilla fantasies. He has a beam that is anti-air and a bleed and a grounding ability, and it slows. So they basically lumped him up with some very useful passives as well as useful add-on abilities to his kit, so that he can basically hold his own against any other character for the most part. Is he easy to counter? I'd say he is. I definitely would say he's easy to counter because of his large size. But with proper healing, on his side, and with a decent team, he can bring a lot of those stubborn duelist mains over to the Vanguard role. Please come over to the Vanguard role. Like, it's so bad. Marvel Rivals has gotten to the point this season, before they release Season 8. Now, I'm just saying the state of the game for 7.5. Honestly, it feels like, and I'm a strategist main, mind you. I main Ultron. So, it feels like, as strategist mains, we feel like babysitters to bad kids. Okay. And for Vanguard players that are forced to solo tank, it feels like they're the stepfathers to bad kids. Meanwhile, the duelist mains just get to sit here and act like bad kids. And we're just looking at them like, you guys are the ones that are bringing this down. You're bringing this experience down. We're just trying to play a team-based game. Why make our lives so miserable? Now, I'm not going to sit there and say that it's all the duelist mains' fault, because it's definitely not. There are some horrific Vanguards out there, as well as horrific strategist players out there too. I've seen my share. Matter of fact, hell, in the game for my placement match, it was, I remember it distinctly. I won the second to last game out of the 10 placement matches. On my 9th game, I won that one really, really well with a very good team. Like, we came together and we worked it out quick. But with the last placement match, I should have knew something was going on when the Phoenix player that was on the enemy team and the last game was on my team this game. And that was my cue that I'm in loser's queue. Because I'm like, wait a minute, I just beat your ass. Why am I on your team? Oh, I see how this works, Guang Guang. I see how this works. So you get a certain number of wins. The algorithm then throws you into a match for people to, I guess in a sense, boost them up. It's attempting to boost them up by putting them against, I guess, people that they went up against. And I knew we were in for it when we had a Thing player and we had a Hulk player. But the enemy team had a Punisher. And I'm like, guys, this is not going to work, like, in any capacity. It's just not going to work. You don't know what you're talking about? Okay, girl. Okay. Okay, girl. And, of course, what did they do? Oh, in the chat, they were like, oh, report Ultron, blame Ultron. I said, and what happened during that match was, if you see in the recording, they one of our teammates saw it. The other strategist, he saw it too. He was like, initiate surrender. I was like, yeah, because they whooped us so fast in the first round. I was like, dog, we are not going to make it. That Punisher is shredding y'all to bits, and you're relying on Ultron to heal you, and we're not able to heal you, and neither one of you will swap to a shield tank. So what are we going to do, baby? Like, and what kills me is one of the tanks said no. One of the Vanguards was the one that declined to surrender. And I'm like, dog, it's players like you. It's players like you. And then you wonder why you struggle. You then start screaming online about how, oh, it's this person's fault. It's that person's fault. It's this person's fault. Baby, you're the common denominator, though. See, a lot of players don't want to face that music. They don't want to face that if you're constantly going through A, B, C, X, Y, Z, baby, there's only one common denominator in that, and that is you. I don't know why for American culture accountability is so hard nowadays. But, baby, at some point, you have to look in the mirror and face the fucking music. Some point in there, you got to be like, this isn't working. What can I do to fix it? This isn't working. What can I do to overcome this? This isn't working. What can I learn or participate in or choose that can make this work? But you see, players like that, they lack accountability. So instead of actually being accountable, swapping to Doctor Strange or Magneto, you know what happened? We lost. And he sat right there and tells us to report Ultron. I literally looked at him and I said, good luck with that. Good luck with that. They're going to take one look at this match and they're going to see it was you that was the problem. But good luck with that, though. And I was doing bad that match. I pretty much saw the futility of it, and all I was doing was like flying overhead and sniping shots. I wasn't even able to really do anything in that match. Because again, they weren't focusing on targets. They weren't pinging targets. They left the Punisher alive way too long. The other strategist and I were trying to focus on the Punisher, while trying to keep these airheads alive. But did they find cover? No. You would think if you don't have a main burst healer that you would find cover so you can heal and recover, kind of like with Mantis or with Adam Warlock. No, these players, they want to be babysat. They want you to babysit them. They want you to coddle their bad mistakes, their awful positioning. That's why I told him when he was like, I'm going to report you. Please do. Please do, so you can wake up and see nothing in your inbox, because that report didn't mean shit. And it didn't. It didn't. Because at the end of the day, I learned how the system and the algorithm works. Once you get a loss in competitive, stop playing. Just stop playing competitive. Don't feed it. Because when you feed it, you're telling the algorithm, hey, I'll put up with this loss. I want to play harder. No, dog, don't do that. Don't do that. Do not do that. Me, I'll take the loss and I go, okay, you know what? It's time for me to step off. It's time for me to step off. I'll leave for a minimum of at least an hour or two. And then I'll come back and probably play some practice modes. Get out of the loser's queue. Okay? Get out of the loser's queue and get back into competitive. Now, I love the games where we go back and forth and it really does come down to who's the better team. But in most cases, the matchmaking in this game is really atrocious. I'm going to be honest with y'all. It's like either you stomp or they stomp. And I really don't like that. Like, can we get more skill-based matchmaking, please? Because I know that people will be like, oh, my God, well, skill-based matchmaking, it gets sweaty when you get to a certain set. But that's the point of it. You're fighting against people that are your equal level. And if somebody's of a higher, level than you, of course they're going to advance past you. That's the hierarchy of it, skill-based matchmaking. Instead, we have this matchmaking that, I guess in a sense, simulates trying to keep the player engaged. And that leads to bad team matchups, particularly with players that are stubborn, players with toxic habits, throwers, people who deliberately try to throw the match, all kinds of things. The competitive scene is extraordinarily toxic in Marvel Rivals. And to be fair, the developers have to eat that L, because they created the nonsense. I'm not saying to fully blame them, because the community is the sum of its parts. But, this is what happens when you release 18 duelists and 8 vanguards and 6 strategists on release. This is what happens. This is what happens, netties. When you cater to one role more than the other two roles, that's not good, dog. That's not good. And I'm pretty sure they're reeling from that mistake, hence Devil Dinosaur's emphasis and heavy marketing right now. And I'm like, well, you need to make some more vanguards, because, baby, the way this is going, folks is not trying to hear this at all, that is. So we'll see how this goes. But from the trailer and everything, it's looking great. I'm really happy. I'm stoked for this season. Season 8 is going to be amazing. Hopefully I can get to goal 3 today, because I finished my placement in silver 1, which I was really excited about. And me, I'm only in competitive to get the free skins. That's it. All that other stuff and the ego drive and the, oh, what's your rank? Baby, none of that means anything. On your deathbed, are you really going to sit there and tell your great-grandkids, oh, man, I remember when I got to platinum? They're going to be like, what? So please don't worry about your ranks. Focus on your goals. Focus on the win. Focus on what you can do to improve your gameplay. Stop focusing on what other people are doing and focus on your gameplay, how you can do. There's a specific reason I leave that microphone off, because I knew the minute I saw those 2 brawl tanks going into a Punisher, I was like, I know that voice chat is nasty. I can just smell how nasty that voice chat must be. I'm staying out of it. Nope. You got it, player. You got it, player. I'm not. I'm just not. But this has been a wonderful season. Grateful for the blessings. Grateful for the new characters. Devil Dinosaur. Hopefully I'll get to main you. I don't know. We'll get to see. Baby. We get to see. But it looks like it's going to turn out to be a really good season, especially with the recent changes. I thought the buffs to certain characters were going to be significant, but it's really like more of a nothing burger, if anything. So if you're looking for specifics, I recommend going to Claudio Rio's page. He's got all the specifics for that. But I will be dropping probably a play-by-play on patch notes if you so much like. But if you want a video on that, let me know in the comments. And this is Hood Rich signing out.